Hello, everybody, and welcome to Half the Brain, the podcast that has half the brain you do and half the facts you do. It's your boy, Dirty Easy, Big Danny Barrett, here with once again half of the facts about wrestling that he thinks he knows. Joined as ever by his tag team partner in this endeavor through the wrestling world, Travis Truth himself, Mr. Niall. How we doing? Love you, all right?
Play my music.
I think we've established Rick, Rick, the producer of the Shadows, doesn't give a shit about your music at this point.
I know, yeah. I'm just waiting for him to just drop random bits of music in.
Yeah. And joining us this month from the stable, your boy, Vitamin J. Jordan Love, how we doing? You all right?
Not bad. WWE Ultra Vitamin J. Really. Nothing,
Yes.
nothing but happiness and positivity from this.
Yes, positivity today. That's what we want from you.
Yes, nothing
I'm gonna
but.
work myself into a shoot here, brother.
Oh, there's gonna be shoots working into works into shoots. So, everyone's gonna get mad.
Oh, you jabroni marks. Yeah, we're going to be doing a preview of WrestleMania 41. But before we get to that, there was a pay-per-view the weekend just gone, AEW Dynasty. Um, we've not chosen a way yet of how you pronounce that properly. But I thought it was a good pay-per-view overall. The main event let the thing down, and we're still stuck in the Death Rider vortex of doom at the moment, and I think we will be till All In.
Yeah.
Jay, what did you think of the pay-per-view overall, etc., from AEW?
I wasn't that as offended as everyone else was. I didn't think it was typical AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Like they normally, the TV shows obviously have been hit and miss over the last year or two.
yeah,
Fair to say. Mixed bags. Tony
yeah.
Storm is the thing that carries
I thought she should have
everything.
headlined this pay-per-view. To be honest, Tony
Probably,
Storm.
probably if you go off the idea of what's the most over and who's probably the one, you know, bringing in the fans,
Yeah,
it's probably her over everything else. Like I said, mixed bag of a pay per view. Really, I thought the Owen Cup stuff was unnecessary.
mm. It went on for far too long. What was it? 5.5 hours?
Yeah, and you could have easily condensed that to 3.5. Had a solid pay per view. You probably wouldn't have been as mad at the end of the main event. Really, like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
If you're not tired or you're not like fed up of 5 hours of we've all been there when it was WWE doing what 6 7 hour manias and stuff.
yeah,
The Orlando one I think was 10 hours
oh,
in total,
yeah.
including pre-show or something like that.
Pre-shows
So
and all that. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like you probably wouldn't be as offended or annoyed. You know what? The end of it as well. Like the main event itself was okay. It was an all right. It was an all right match. It wasn't great. It wasn't. You
Great,
know.
fantastic. I just don't think Moxley's got it anymore as a main event wrestler. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's lost it. Like I watch. I'm actually got. I have HBO Max. An American version somehow.
Yeah.
Completely above board. And I've watched 2019 AEW. Like in the nights when I'm up with the kids and stuff. And Moxley's night and day. When he comes in at that first part, you would think that it was the second coming of Stone Cold Steve Austin. You'd
We're
think
going
that
yeah, yeah.
it was so to what he's moved on to, and whether it's him, whether it's booking people, whether it's whatever, it just doesn't speak. I think a lot of it's to do with the fact that he takes things too far. It's attempted murder rather than do you know what I mean? Like you know, you can like we'll talk about it with the Mania preview, but for example, what Gunther did on Raw the other week, that's more effective than you know pouring bleach down someone's throat, throwing someone down a flight of stairs, putting a carrier bag over someone's head. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
no, I get
it's
you.
probably a bit much. The Bucks joining. The one thing that I will 100% say is that I think the internet wrestling community who completely broke down, and even AEW fans who completely broke down, going, "This makes no sense."
Yeah.
Do you not like when you watch Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones and stuff, and something happens in season 4 that relates to something that happened in season 1? Do you not remember that stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like, so the Bucks. So let me go through the timeline a little bit. The Bucks go and they say they hate AEW now when they form the Elite with Jack Perry and Okada. They say they hate AEW. They want it to change. They don't like the way it's not what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
They attack Tony Khan. They get into this fight with some AEW people like I can't remember who was in the Blood and Guts match, to be honest, off the top of my head. I know Kingston was in there and Darby Allin was in there. But they had that battle over AEW Soul, and the Bucks lost.
Yeah.
And then the Death Riders come about, and they interact with the Bucks, and they interact with Jack Perry and that. They never attacked them. They were attacking everyone when they started out.
I think the last time we saw the Bucks on TV, they were being chased off by the Death Riders, though.
No, they weren't.
Were they not?
No. This is a Mandela effect. They lose the tag titles.
Yeah.
When they lose the tag titles, they run off to their office to shred documents. They're not running away from the Death Riders. The Death Riders are going through the backstage area at the time, smashing shit up. But they weren't actually after the Bucks. They managed to, they got into the backstage area where the Bucks and Brandon Cutler were, and the Bucks buggered off into a car and left Brandon Cutler to get bad.
Right.
People are misremembering stuff.
Right. Yeah. That was that's.
But they're shredding
documents. To be honest, I couldn't remember what happened. That was something I saw online. So
I think that's the thing of like the people like me who watch the weekly TV. I remember things, and one of the things I said in our tag team episode, the first one I came on, where I called the Young Bucks as one of the best tag teams because I love the fact that there's these little details that they put in, and the way that they tell stories is not exactly linear, in the sense that with this, when the Death Riders were smashing stuff up at the beginning, you had lower card tag teams like the Dark Order and
Private Party and people like that.
Right, yeah, Flight Club or whatever they're called. Top Flight. Flight Club's a bar. Club. Top Flight. They all were like to the Bucks, why aren't you doing anything? This is your company. And the Bucks were always going, they're acting like they're scared. I don't think they're acting scared. I think the whole thing is like them and Moxley were in on it. Because when they turned up, I was like,
along.
Yeah. I think that's the stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not condoning this story or saying that it's a good one. That's not what I am saying here. What I'm saying is, though, that I think people yelling out, oh, this doesn't make sense, and they're just randomly shoehorning the Bucks in and all this sort of stuff. No, they're not. It's not the story that's particularly good. It's a storyline that we all, I think, agree want to end as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I do also agree to an extent with the idea of taking the title off Moxley at the biggest possible show you can. Because if you think about it, forget the fact that AEW are kind of in trouble and are struggling to do things and all that kind of nonsense. Take that out of the equation.
I think creatively they're in trouble a lot.
In some respects, I completely agree with you. There's a thing they're knocking out the park, and I think there's this kind of
imbalance of that.
Yeah. And what you've got is if Swerve took the belt off Mox, you've then got 2 months, if my maths is correct.
3
months.
Yeah. May, June, July. I think August is all in.
Nope. All in's earlier this year because the August event is Forbidden Door this year. They've swapped them round. So it's either June or July. So you've only in theory got 2-3 months to create a feud and a world title main event big enough to fill 40,000 seater with Swerve and a cold opponent.
12th of July.
Yeah. So you've got 3 months to do that. That's not. I don't think that's enough. I think what they need. I think the idea of whoever wins the Owen goes on to All In, wrestles the champ. That should be Moxley that loses to that person in that match at that pay-per-view. I think that's the logical step because, like I said, if you take the belt off him now, short-term goal, brilliant, done. What does Swerve do?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
There's only one man that can book this in such a short period of time.
Me.
Vince Russo.
Bro.
It's time he came back.
Some argue that he's already there.
So I've got a deal for you, Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is so deal or no deal, right?
Right.
John Moxley drops the title belt on Dynamite this Wednesday. Right?
Okay.
To Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Do you take that deal? Is that a deal or is that a no deal? Because he's not the Ring of Honor champion anymore.
He's not. He's not. He's not.
Dynasty.
And he should. He should have a belt, really.
Yeah. But would you give him? So.
God no.
You what?
God no. God no. I'd rather the drunken ramblings of a psychopath over whatever the hell emotional speaker nonsense Jericho's in the middle of. It's awful. But I did fantasy book, if you will indulge me for a couple of minutes, I did actually fantasy book what I think AEW should be doing with my mate, because I was really drunk the other night. Which always makes the best kind of booking and
fantasy
logical
booking
things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Let me see if I can find where it is in this chat. Here we
go. Have you got it? Right, go.
Yeah, got it. So what I think now is, now that we've got the Young Bucks and the Death Riders, we change them to the Death Elite or the Elite Death, something like that. Just come up with some shitty name that amalgamates the two things, right? Yeah. I want everyone joining it. I want FTR now that they're bad guys. I want Jack Perry in it. I want everyone. Dig up whoever the hell you can. Just chuck them in there, right? I want at least 15 members in the Death Riders. I want 15 members called the AEW Ultras. That's what we do. And at All In, we have a 15 versus 15 Anarchy in the Arena, right? I want all of the spiked bats with nails. I want exploding tables, barbed wire. I want the works, right? Just absolute sick chaos in a 40,000 seat stadium. Everywhere you turn, something's getting exploded. Something's on fire. People are going through shit, right? Just literally book the most manic match you could possibly book in the entire world. The ending of it as an exploding ring that makes up for Revolution with Kenny Omega and Mox, right? When they set off the sprinklers.
Right.
Exploding that. Then what you do is, at the end of the match, you follow Moxley out to the back.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets interesting. He opens the door to the old locker room. And who's standing there? Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy is wearing a big boxing glove. And when he Orange punches Moxley, it explodes. And the punch is so hard, it quantum leaps Moxley into an alternative universe, right? In this alternate universe, everyone in AEW, they've switched gimmicks. So, for example, Powerhouse Hobbs is now played by MJF. MJF is now played by Powerhouse Hobbs. Right? All that kind of stuff. Just go as mental as possible for a year, right? Moxley, though, is confused because no one remembers John Moxley in this timeline at all. They all think he's Nyla Rose, right? But he's trying to convince them definitely that he's definitely not Nyla Rose. He's 100% John Moxley. And the entire year is John Moxley trying to quantum leap back to our timeline.
Back to the ring he once knew.
Exactly. That is how you create an alternative, folks.
Well,
right.
Thanks.
I'm going now.
That,
I think I've said all I need to say.
Yeah, exactly. Well done on that. And on that note, I tell you actually, before we start the Mania preview as well, we need to get to a few. We need to take a trip to Suplex City, and a couple of people have emailed in. If you want to get in touch with the show, halfthebrainpod@gmail.com. A couple of people have got in contact and told us their favourite suplexes. So Ian in Manchester, Exploder, T-Bone, and German.
Good choices.
Bloody love a T-Bone. Bloody love a T-Bone.
Bloody love a T-Bone. Guy in Burton has said snap suplex, specifically Dynamite Kids version.
Oh,
T-Bone and a release German.
Ooh.
The old release German. My cousin Adam said Bret the Hitman's Hart suplex from the second rope. And then and producer Rick in the shadows. Snap suplex is producer Rick's in the shadows favorite suplex. If you've got a favorite suplex, or if you want to get in contact with the show, halfthebrainpod@gmail.com. Right, WrestleMania time, folks. Whoa. WrestleMania.
Pump it up, pump it
Um,
up.
Pump it up, pump it up. Overall, how excited are we, Niall? How excited are you for the big daddy and granddaddy of them all?
Not as excited as either I should be or I'd like to be at the moment. It's
What about
like
you, Jay?
you've been invited to a party and you know that like there's going to be a couple of dickheads there. So you're like, do I go to the party? Do I not?
I'll leave it an hour or so. Maybe they'll have fucked off in fact by the time I get there.
Yeah.
Jay, what are your thoughts going in?
Very excited for some stuff actually. Not at all excited for some other things. So, I mean,
I think
yeah,
that sums up my thoughts on it pretty much as well. Yeah, to be fair.
we'll get into it, but
yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So these are what have been announced so far. There is one more sort of participant to be announced, but we'll get to that. But first up, we've got Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Chad Gable in a mask. How is it?
allegedly.
I think
Allegedly.
at one point we all thought El Generico was going to be involved in this storyline somehow, like that he was going to meet El Generico in Mexico. They built it up like he's going to be in Mexico for fucking ages, and he was there for a week. Got a briefcase with some lights in it, and came back.
I mean, it's not bad going. Like, El Grande Americano's been there, what, 4 weeks, and he's already got a match at Mania?
I mean, that's impressive.
That is very impressive indeed.
Chad Gable could never.
But I mean, Chad Gable, he's a great wrestler. You're going up against Mysterio. I don't think it's going to be shit, but he's not going to open the show. I think it's going to be in the middle so that people can go to the toilet maybe or check out the merch in the foyer area. This one, but
that's going to move some shirts, but it's not going to be either of those two shirts that are moving.
No, exactly. I mean, if this makes it to the main card and is not on a preview, on the 4-hour preview show before night 1 or night 2, like I'll be amazed. Like, but hey ho. But,
it's like the whole thing that's triggered this match was last night on Raw, where El Grande Americano cheated by inserting a piece of metal in his mask and headbutting.
Old school. Old school, a loaded mask.
Yeah.
I've not seen that gimmick for quite some time.
Now, sorry, I'm going to be that guy. If you put a piece of metal on your forehead and you collide foreheads with someone else, doesn't the transitive properties of physics mean that you'd get hurt as well? Or is it because of the masks?
If you wrap a chain around your fist and punch somebody,
yeah, it hurts your. Yeah, but it hurts your hand.
You're not coming out on that with an intact fist.
Yeah. So if you're headbutting someone with a piece of metal on there, theoretically shouldn't work out. Now this is wrestling, by the way.
This is wrestling logic. This is wrestling. If you attach something to your body, it's not going to hurt yourself. It's going to hurt the other person.
I know. To be fair, we all accept the Irish whip. So
exactly.
We can let this go, of course. But
we can allow the loaded match.
I'm just being that guy in the YouTube comments who's a dick, just for fun. No, but. I love Chad Gable. I've not seen much Rey Mysterio. I think he's a SmackDown wrestler, is he normally? And my kind of only real participation in wrestling in WWE is really watching highlights on YouTube on a Tuesday on my way into work. So I've not seen much Rey Mysterio.
I think Mysterio's on SmackDown in here. Yeah.
So I don't get to see him very often because I don't tend to watch watch the highlights of SmackDown very often. But should be a good match. I mean, God, like Chad Gable's fantastic. Rey Mysterio's also is Rey Mysterio in it. So it should be a good little scuffle between the two. I personally would have I'd rather see people like Chad Gable up against people like Bron Breakker though. I'd rather matches like that for Mania than this match is a roadblock or a fast lane or a pump shaft pay-per-view match rather than a WrestleMania match for me. I mean, I don't watch the product enough to say whether the build and everything like that's right, but
this is a very Vince style storyline going on at the moment as well. Like, the American wrestler goes to Mexico to become a luchador, gets a mask, and that's it. Comes back and is someone completely different. I like, Mr. America springs to mind. It's got, that kind of vibe to it, like a little bit, but it's very Vince heavy storyline by the looks of things. This one.
Don't forget about the legendary Luchadora as well.
Adora, dear me. I believe Bert Kreischer was on Raw last night, and
It was, yeah. Yeah.
Him and Otis were ripping shirts off and getting wonderful
Ripping shirts and down in pints.
ripping shirts down the pipe. So, are we looking forward to this one? Are we not? Are we not asked?
Yeah, I'll probably be checking my phone for most of this match, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Not particularly bothered, but I don't think I'll be offended by it either.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll be watching it live probably the next morning, so we'll have the fast forward button on tap for this one. Next up, WWE Intercontinental Championship match: Braun Breaker, the champion, versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Now, are we interested in this match? In like going in storyline wise, do you give a shit about that?
Sort of, but it feels a little bit undercooked. I can see why all four people are in this match.
Yeah, to give them something to do.
It's like there's tension in the Judgment Day between Finn and Dom. So you've got the potential for a screwy finish. You've got obviously the champion Braun Breaker and the hot new talent Penta, who's been involved with all of these in the last 4 weeks, like, matches against all of them. Penta and Braun Breaker tagged. Braun accidentally speared Penta, so there's a little bit of tension there. So storyline wise, I can see why, but like I say, it just feels like it's not had the time to properly marinate, really.
Fully marinate. I think the problem with this is they've held back too much with the Judgment Day exploding. But what they want to do is they have the Judgment Day implode and have Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor, and then they should have had Penta versus Braun Breaker for the IC belt, and that's what it should have been. But they've held back on this Judgment Day explode and Finn turning on them or whatever, because they don't know which they can't. I don't think if Finn turns on Dominic, that's not going to turn him. Well, I think it'll turn him face, and they don't want to really put Finn in a face position. They want him to be a heel, and I think Finn wants to be a heel as well. But then at the same time, they're not going to turn Dominic by having Finn turn on him or anything like that either. So they're in a sort of a bit of a lose-lose situation there.
Yeah, I mean they've teased the breakup of Judgment Day. There's like teased a tension between Dom and Finn. So I think there is going to be some kind of like sort of bonus content after the match where like say Finn will turn on Dominic and whatever. But Dominic's too good of a heel to be a face.
That's it. That's the problem. And if it's got to be that Finn turns on Dom. Dom can't turn on him because then people will begin to start cheering him a little bit, and there'll be a split then in the crowd of that amazing heat Dominic gets. Finn Balor needs to turn on him, sort of smash him up a bit, and give him a little bit of sympathy, but then Dominic needs to get his heat back somehow, and I don't know how you do that.
I don't see Dominic Mysterio working as a babyface in any way, shape, or form.
No.
There are certain acts around wrestling that are heels for life, in my opinion. And like when they do their face runs, it never pans out, or it's never as interesting as when they're heels, and he's definitely one of them. The thing about this match that I find a little bit unfortunate is that you're sort of fragwaing two different storylines into one. It somewhat devalues the you said it, the hot new star in Penta, the undeniable future star in Braun Breaker, and then you put in should just literally, like, again, Braun Breaker to me is the character that you put in as the in the sort of the Kurt Angle style of, I want to beat the best, you're the best, I want your belt. Like you give him those kind of basic things. With Penta, you give him showcase matches.
Yeah,
that's what Penta does best. Penta's not going to give you some Broadway classic with loads of emotion and psychology and all that sort of stuff. That's not
Good storylines and storytelling
that's
in his matches. No,
it's
put
not
Penta on
him.
first, open up the show, have an amazing
Absolutely.
opener, and fucking go
You
from
you
there.
you can do character work with Penta, but you'll never. But in terms of his match, you'll never have that thing. That's just not how he works. But that's also what makes him unique and special, and
Yeah.
such a good talent.
Are we doing
So
predictions? Because I'm taking Penta for this.
I I'm actually taking Braun Breaker. I think Braun retains.
I'm going with Finn because I think that gives him the most heat. He turns on it,
Beating
fucks over
Dom.
Dom.
Beating Dom.
Fucks over. Well, he fucks over Dom. I think in the end, like I think Dom probably does a chair shot to somebody, and then Finn runs in or does a move. Finn runs in, nicks the pin, and for the next few weeks on Raw, it's Dom brooding in the background, and then the implosion happens. Going into SummerSlam or whatever, probably. But I'd say that's probably the best way of getting as much heat as you can on Finn Balor, whereas at the same time keeping Dom in the background simmering, and
Yeah.
then you can move Braun Breaker up, and like you say, you can do whatever you want with Penta because Ray Phoenix has just debuted this week, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a fucking ridiculous move. You've got WrestleMania coming up. Why can you not just wait 3 weeks to fucking
Yeah.
debut him?
That was a banger match, though.
It was a great match, but it's WrestleMania season.
Mm-hmm.
Your focus should be on that. Wait for your new lad to start the week after Mania, like you traditionally do, so you're not taking focus away from a storyline.
Yep.
It's great that he's debuted. Don't get me wrong, but
I also think it's great.
hell.
It's great that they've kept them apart.
Yeah, I think it is good that one's on SmackDown, one's on Raw.
Yeah, keep them
because
apart.
yeah, you would get them instant. Oh, AEW, blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you put them as a tag team, all you're doing is going, "Oh, well, they're doing the same thing here." Then this is going to keep it interesting and separate at least for them both, and then we can see if they are capable of being the talents and the stars that they think that they are and they should have been. This is their opportunity now to do that, and the best way to do that is to split them up, keep them away from each other, and let them do it on their own merit, and that's a smart thing. I do agree, though. I think you should with someone as special as Ray Phoenix. You wait. You gave Penta, didn't Penta do the first Raw on Netflix? You gave him a marquee day. If you
Exactly.
remember. You chuck Phoenix on like a random SmackDown.
And like the first one back from Europe as well.
Yeah.
Like, not like where he's in front of a hot crowd or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Chicago, but come on, if he'd have fucking debuted in Italy, the roof would have fucking blown off the place. Like,
They would have sang songs all day.
all day for him. Yeah. I don't know what kind of song, but yeah. So, sorry, what's your prediction for Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano then?
I think it's Ray.
Ray? I'm gonna go. Yeah, probably go Ray. Actually,
I'll go Ray because you know better than me. I don't know what's going on with this properly.
Right, next up, the one that's not been fully sort of cemented yet, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, they're the champions. They're going to be taking on the winners of the Gauntlet match that's coming up on this week's SmackDown, I believe. We don't know, fully who's in this yet, so it'll probably be Bailey and Niall.
Lyra Valkyria.
And Chelsea Green and Piper Niven as a team, and then there'll be a couple of other teams in there. I don't know. I don't think the WWE have got any specific women's tag teams, have they?
Not really. I know you've got Michin and BFAB, which isn't. That's quite Velocity standard.
Yeah. What about Selena Vega? She must be teaming with someone.
I'm not sure because they were having a big, sort of feud between Zelina and Chelsea in a secret service. But that just seems to have fizzled to nothing.
As many things do with Selena Vega, unfortunately. So yeah, we can't really predict that one. We can't. I mean, I won't be watching it, but I'm sure. Niall, will you be watching this one?
No, I don't think so.
I I think Leilani Kai and Wendy Richter win the gauntlet and
The
go
Golden
on.
Girls are surely winning this one.
Oh, the Jumping Bomb Angels will win this.
Yeah, I'm going with them.
I forgot about them.
Now, we've just named 3 women's tag teams there. Well, 2 of them at least were actual tag teams that dressed very similar and had a gimmick name and had a sort of like a gimmick. Why can't they do that with a women tag team these days? Why is there none like that?
During a period where they didn't even have a women's division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking madness.
Give them a name, Trips. Just give them a name.
It's not hard. You do it all the time with fucking men. Like, why can't you do it with women as well? Like even AEW though, they've not got any women tag team. Like we go, oh, it's like the Rockers, but the women's version of something like that. They've got nothing. No one has got anything like that.
Oh wait, no,
crazy.
They've got one. Diana Perazzo and Taya Valkyrie have a name for their. I don't know what it is. It's like the firm or the gang, the mobsters or something daft like that.
Daft like that, yeah.
It's
Sorry,
something like that.
You've just reminded me as well of time was Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa, Thunder Tits.
Thunder Tits, yep.
Thunder Tits. Sorry. So they are coming. They're creeping in slowly, I suppose.
And when Anna Jay and Ty Conti were together, they were Ty J. Nailed that one. I was brainstorming for that one.
Oh, fuck me. That's on the level of Jerry Show.
Jerry Show. The Rhodes Scholars.
Fucking hell.
Oh. An awful
next
time.
Next up then. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, I'm actually interested in this one. I think it's going to be quite a good match, to be fair. I think it should be a very good showcase of Jade. I think Naomi's quite a good person for Jade to work with in this sort of setting. So yeah, I'm going to go with Jade as the winner of this because obviously she's coming back for the storyline. I think she's just going to sort of steamroll through her a bit. But yeah, now what do you think?
It's been interesting because they've already started. Well, Naomi's essentially a heel now. She's got rid of the glow gimmick and everything. I think she's good at what she does, but can she be a heel? Considering, I mean, Bailey managed to pull it off.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think like obviously the storyline's been good in this. You had the whole like who beat up Jade Cargill, blah blah blah.
The old Rikishi story.
Yeah, and I think they pulled that off pretty well because there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's Bianca, she's behind it." She got Naomi to do it, yada yada yada. But yeah, I'd agree with you, Jade, for the win. I don't think it's going to be a 15-minute classic. It's just going to be Jade power moving and everything. But I think it'll be a decent match.
Yeah, I think it'll be like I say, Naomi's decent, the right person to pick with Jade for the first big solo match like this.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you reckon?
Huge fan of Jade Cargill. Always have been. Think that she is hands down the best looking wrestler that's been around forever. When she was in AEW, I was saying, forget the head of the women's division, stick her as the head of the company. Like, honestly, I will go that far because she is just a star. She looks like no one else. She's an athlete like no one else. I know in ring I don't know what she's like now because I haven't really seen a lot of her, obviously, in WWE TV. But
she's been injured for a bit, and she's to be fair.
Is she still fairly kind of green and a little bit like loses her bearings a bit and all that kind of stuff, or is she?
She's not really had
She's
not really had that much time in the ring to say, "Oh yeah, she's improved or not." She came in. She was in a multi-man last year at Mania. Then she got injured and she was out for a lot of last year. She came back.
She'd benefit.
Elimination Chamber, yeah.
Well, she'd benefit from the type of wrestlers that WWE have because one of the major benefits you've got in WWE is you could take someone like Jade Cargill and you can really give her the tools and stuff to make her a good in-ring competitor as well, which AEW don't have. They don't have her in NXT. So that's something that's going to really help her being in the ring though with people like Naomi, Bianca. I know I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, but people like Charlotte, people like Bailey and so forth. You know what I mean though. When they're on the game, great talents, amazing wrestlers, women who have headlined pay-per-views, manias, that kind of stuff. You didn't have that in AEW. So she was up against people like Britt Baker, who also were kind of almost on the same level in terms of in-ring ability. Really, that's a collide. You ain't learning from that. Naomi is the same. She's the neon lights. Used to like they turn the lights off and she danced with the neon lights in the paint and stuff. Yeah, she was incredible when I saw her last. I think it was Mania in Florida. When the Undertaker retired. Was that 28? Was that the last Mania I watched?
Jesus Christ. No, there's got to be in the 30s somewhere.
30 something. I don't know. It was the one. It was probably the one before the pandemic. Anyway, I saw her then. I always thought she was good.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good match. I saw the Elimination Chamber reveal of who battered her, and I thought that beatdown was fantastic.
Yeah,
proper intense. The only part of it that I'm a bit I don't know about is I think the role should almost be reversed, and I think that Jade should be the heel.
Really, yeah, I do. I do as well. Just because on the looks of things, and
yeah,
this is my question now. Coming out of Mania, what's Naomi going to do? Because she's lost that glow, turn the lights off, neon paint shit, all that's gone now. So how are you going to move forward and be interesting? What's your sort of like USP going to be like, sort of thing? So.
I think that'll be sort of sorted out after one of the matches that we're going to talk about in a bit. I think depending on the outcome of the match coming up, I think that'll determine where where heel Naomi's going to go specifically.
There we go. Oh, right, okay. So are we all going with Jade for that one then?
Yeah.
Right, next up. I think this is going to be another landslide. The WWE Male United States Championship. LA Knight, the champion, versus Jacob Fatu. I'm going with Jacob Fatu as the winner for this one, but I think it's probably going to be a disqualification, and I don't think Fatu is going to come away with the championship. I think he's going to win, but through. LA Knight getting caught hitting with him with a chair or something stupid like that. So LA Knight retains his championship, but Jacob Fatu wins, or reversed, that LA Knight wins, but because Fatu's thrown a fucking table at him or something like that.
The announce table.
Yeah. Just ripped it out of the ground and thrown it at him with Michael Cole. But what do you reckon, Jay? What do you reckon for this one?
Couldn't give a fuck.
Have you seen anything of Jacob Fatu?
Yep. Love him.
Do you not?
I love him. I love him to bits. I think he's awesome.
But you just LA Knight.
What the fuck is he slumming it with him for? What on earth? Sorry. No.
He sells the meat sticks, Jay. Come on.
I'll end up on. Oh God, no, fuck him.
He sells meat sticks in Saudi Arabia.
Him, and there's another person that you all love, Joe Hendry. He can fucking get in the bin and all, right? All that. There's a massive amount of wrestlers in this world, right? Who fuck me off, and them two. I don't know what it is. They irritate the shit out of me. And LA Knight is one of them, and I couldn't give a toss what he does. I hope Jacob Fatu does throw the table. Michael Cole, Corey Graves, the other commentators who I don't know the names of, Wade Barrett.
No,
he can go in there now. Just chuck them all at him until he's just dust, and then pin him. Fuck me.
Don't sit on the fence, Jay. Tell us what you really feel.
Boils my piss. Because a lot of it comes from being an AEW fan, listening to people say about certain wrestlers and the way that they are, and then they praise him like he's some sort of God. No. The Miz at his worst was better than anything LA Knight's done at his best.
Those are strong.
Oh words. Yeah, I'll say it.
I've sat through most of the Miz's career, and those.
I'm not scared. Alex, you know what? Alex Riley, better. Sorry,
No, come
saying
on
it.
now. Come on.
Saying it. The Core. You remember the Core? Better.
Justin Gabriel was better than LA Knight.
Yeah. Husky
Michael
Harris.
Tarver. So, right, we're all going for Jacob Fatu on that one. Lovely. Next up, a man who boils my pit. Go on.
Hello.
Sorry now. Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah, Niall.
It's because you went with Jordan first.
I did, yeah, sorry.
So the build up for this one's been pretty decent, apart from the fact that LA Knight's been involved in it. I am not a fan of him. I only think the reason that he's over is because he's copied Stone Cold Steve Austin's cadence on the mic.
And the Rocks a little bit as well.
And during a period, and this is the Mr. Kennedy effect, is that when you haven't got a wrestler you haven't got wrestlers around you at the time who are necessarily performing particularly well in the promo section. A complaint that you had before about people like Seth Rollins, for example, who sounded robotic and like they're reading from a script, that it's a word for word verbatim thing that they have to get through and all that sort of stuff. LA Knight comes across as a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Mr. Kennedy. During that period, they had all these awful. But
God,
again, he robbed
God,
cadences and things like that from Rock and Austin, and people were just like, "Oh, finally, a guy who can cut a promo." No, sorry, Niall, didn't mean to cut you off.
But yeah, this whole like LA Knight won the title from Shinsuke Nakamura, who I completely forgot was still an active wrestler. Then they had this whole thing about Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Braun Strowman were basically fighting each other every week. It's been a little bit strange in that when it's been Jacob's turn, he always, like, the bloodline always run in. So Tama and Solo are always like, "Oh, we came to save you," and Jacob Fatu's like, "What the fuck are you even talking about?" They've been going around between Fatu, Strowman, and LA Knight. They've had the odd, the couple of tag matches, blah, 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 blah. I would absolutely love to see Jacob Fatu decimate LA Knight. To be fair, if it wasn't LA Knight, I'd like to see him decimate whoever's in that ring, because the guy is just money.
Why is Strowman not involved in this match then? Where's he gone?
I'm not sure where he's gone in the whole thing. It was the number one contendership. Fatu won it.
Right.
I can't remember if that was legit or not.
Right. Okay.
Or if there was some sort of screwy finish. But yeah, my ultimate dream for WrestleMania 42, I know we're jumping the gun here, is Braun Breaker versus Jacob Fatu for the Intercontinental title or the World's Heavyweight title, because that would be an absolute fucking mess.
Yeah.
In the best way.
The best way possible. Yeah. We did get there was a Hogan Warrior reaction of them two at the Rumble, wasn't there?
Yes.
So I think that's probably been lodged in someone's mind, like, oh, right, one day, that's going to be a big main event one day. Right, next up, yeah. So who are you going with that now? Sorry, then.
Fatu, all gas, no brakes.
Next up, a man I fucking hate versus a man I fucking hate. I'll probably be fast forwarding this match. I can't stand either of these people. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I am. You are. Versus Logan Paul. I just can't stand AJ Styles. I've never been able to like him. I've never been able to enjoy anything he's been in. I just don't know what it is about him that winds me up. I just don't like him. I especially don't like him now with his mum hair and his fucking flat Earth beliefs.
He just thinks there's something in it. He doesn't think that it's actually. He just thinks there's something
to
it.
We should maybe discuss the topic.
Don't close off the marketplace of ideas. Damn, Jesus.
But yeah, I think it's those adverts, like I've said before, the adverts that were on the old British Wrestling TV channel that were just dedicated to him, and it was just his TNA theme tune playing. I am, you are. And that just instantly wound me up. That, and I remember the anarchist Doug Williams as well, was it? There were adverts for him every 5 minutes on that channel, and the pair of them were just like, I instantly hate you.
Oh, it's a shame. That's a shame. Doug Williams is an absolute legend.
Oh no! And when he came to TNA, he was amazing, and I did quite like him. But when
Chad
he was
Gable,
those, like,
Chad Gable owes a lot to him.
Did he?
Yeah, that Chaos Theory suplex thing, that's Doug's invention.
Oh, yeah, shit, yeah. But no, yeah, when he was in TNA, he was gold.
Oh yeah,
gold. But yeah, I don't care either way about this. So Niall, take it away, my friend.
Not even a decent build-up for this one. It's like a couple of weeks ago, Logan Paul called out AJ Styles.
That's it.
The most entertaining thing about this build-up has been Karrion Kross.
Oh yeah,
because he's just been on like AJ Styles' case, like fuck him up, go on, fuck him up. You're AJ Styles, fuck him up. But yeah, I think like visually it'll be a decent match. There'll be a lot of big spots and stuff, but it's not going anywhere. It's not leading to anything. This is just the equivalent of Big Show versus Akibano, really. It's there.
Oh, Big Show versus that boxer. What was he?
Floyd Mayweather.
Jr.
Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah.
What was it? What did I hear a rumor Karrion Kross wrestled on Raw?
No, he didn't. They've made a match for next week, I think.
Oh, right. So he has got a match coming up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So that will be the second time he's wrestled this year for WWE on television.
Yes. But yeah, as to your point about with AJ Styles, I think like the more his hair's grown, the more boring he's got.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just never liked the only good match I think he's ever been in is that 3-way with Joe and Christopher Daniels. I didn't like his cinematic match. I didn't like many cinematic matches. I thought the Hardys did it best at first, and nobody could fucking really top what they did.
Because it was the first, though.
But because it was the first, and because they went fucking mental with it, and you were like, how the fuck can anyone top that? And no one could. No one could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just never been a fan. Sorry, never been a fan. John,
I love AJ Styles. I don't think Alan Jones is a particularly nice person. But I am from the FWA 2003 fanboy club where I would see AJ Styles in tiny civic halls around the UK. So I have a soft spot for AJ Styles. And I wanted TNA to compete with WWE as well. So I, again, put my thing in for him. I find Logan Paul in the WWE as anything other than a joke offensive. And I wholeheartedly mean this. The fact that he's gone toe-to-toe with Roman fucking Reigns is a joke. The fact that he's gone toe-to-toe with people like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, whoever, the story isn't they just batter him is beyond me. I can't get past the fact that he's a snobby little prankster YouTuber who has a piss tasting energy drink and is just a bell end.
Well, there is that fact. And to be fair, I will be fair to him a little bit here. I think he has proved in ring he is quite decent, and he's on a wrestling level. As a wrestler, he gets it. He knows how to be a heel, and in ring level, he's quite athletic enough to, have a decent, match with a Ricochet, say for instance, or something like that.
That's what makes it worse.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Again,
I wanted him to come in and be fucking shit, and then just fuck off.
Yeah, but I can he wrestle or can he do spots?
I think he can wrestle.
he wrestle? So like, you know, when you watch people, for example, that are going to be in our main events that we'll talk about in a minute, where they drag you in with drama and storytelling and logic and reason. Can he do those things, or can he just do things like springboards and flying stuff and let the wrestler that knows what they're doing guide him, if you get me? Like, because I have not seen enough of him to. I'm asking questions here. I'm not making a point. I'm asking a question. Can he do that?
I think if you go back and watch his feud with Kevin Owens, he shows in that he gets it. He totally understands it, and he knows
that's
what
where
to
I
do.
pick on first.
And there wasn't just big spots, big moves, blah blah blah. In that there was a lot of him acting like a chicken shit heel,
sure,
and doing that really well. And within that match, you know, playing up the oh shit, I'm gonna get beat up, and then actually getting a few hits in here and there, getting a move, blah blah blah. I think he proved that in that feud that he actually can do this, and that's why they're putting him with AJ now. I think to say, right, okay, show us a really good match now at the biggest stage, and we might give you something a bit more. But I think they're very scared to push the button fully on him because tomorrow he could be fucking making a town in America bankrupt by just like selling Doge coins or some shit like that. I don't know, you know. Like...
All right. So you've given me a lot of good insight and food for thought, and it's very constructive and well presented, and I appreciate that from both of you. But still, fuck him. And no interest, and couldn't. I mean, I hope AJ wins. And I hope Hideo Itami's him in the. Or what was he called? The guy that took the Styles Clash wrong, the Japanese guy.
Oh God! Now you're asking questions.
Whoever he was.
Yeah, whoever he was.
Let's hope. Tuck your chin, Logan. It's the way to take every move. Tuck your chin.
The guy who invented the GTS, wasn't it him?
That was Kenta. That
was it. Kenta.
He was a silly character in Japan in WWE, but when he went back to Japan, he was taken seriously. I can't remember what he's called.
Oh, Yoshitatsu.
That's him, Yoshitatsu. Yes.
There we go.
Tuck your chin, Logan. That's the way to take. Remember, when you're on your way down, tuck.
Especially for the Stars Clash.
Oh yeah, it's the only way.
It's the only way.
You want to make it look good, don't you?
Right. Next up, WWE Women's World Championship. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley.
Sorry, you got me excited then. I thought it was the other one, but we'll talk about this one.
We'll do this one first.
Sorry, I'm really excited to talk about that one.
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. So, three-way for the Women's World Championship. When it was Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, I thought this could be quite an interesting match. And then they added Rhea Ripley, and I thought, you've taken the shine off it a little bit for me now. I didn't want it to be a three-way with the amount of multiple man matches that's going on in this sort of thing, really, because this Mania is turning into a little bit of WrestleMania 2000, where every match is a fucking multi-man match. But they've done it in a sort of strange way. They've gone about this in the storyline of added Rhea Ripley into it. They've done that now after holding back for a few weeks, but it's sort of lost a little bit of interest for me. But I'm hoping Bianca Belair wins because I want her to turn heel with Naomi, basically. Niall.
Now then, this to quote Dylan Jaffor, this shit is genius. I love it. So you've got the winner of the Elimination Chamber basically gets to face whoever hasn't been picked for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it. Okay. At that point, it was Bianca Belair, the winner of the Elimination Chamber, against Rhea Ripley, the women's champion. Io Sky comes back in and says, hang about, you promised me a match. Like, you owe me a match. Rhea is like, do you know what? I respect you. I'll give you that match. Now, back in Vince's day, this would have been a rubber. Like, Rhea would have won.
Right.
It'd have been like, oh, we're going to make you think that Io can win. But yeah, so that puts a whole new dimension on it. And Io Sky has never lost to Rhea Ripley, ever. So Vince would have pulled the trigger on that and said, like, yeah, there you go, Io, there's your loss, whatever. And that adds an interesting psychological element to it. So Rhea's now out of WrestleMania. Rhea, and they could have done this a little bit better in making Rhea absolutely desperate to get back.
Yeah.
Onto the what's essentially the women's main event.
Well, she did. She walked out into a contract signing, picked up the contract, ran off with it, and then signed it backstage, and then was like, "I'm in the match now." And Adam Pearce has had a few weeks of trying to get the contract back, trying to make Rhea see sense. She's not done, and now he's just thrown up his arms and gone, "All right, I'm going to add Rhea to the match."
Yeah, the way that they've done this though makes Rhea look a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, it's all been about Rhea and Bianca, like promo battles, facing off. And poor little Io, the women's champion, repeatedly gets like shoved out of the way, like hands in face and everything. And god damn it, she's not going to take it anymore. So then they make another championship match, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley, with Bianca Belair as the special guest referee. Bianca borrows Shawn Michaels' special referee gear.
Yeah.
She basically gets accidentally hit by Rhea, gets accidentally hit by Io. She's like, "Fuck this, fuck the lot of you, double disqualification." Again, last night's Raw, Adam Pearce is like, "Right, enough of this nonsense now. Come on, Bianca, out you come. Come on, Io, out you come. And we're gonna add Rhea to the match, make it official. It's definitely a triple threat." Io gets pushed aside again and decimates both women before walking off with the title. I want Io to retain so bad. I want her to be the woman who's like, I ended Bianca Belair's WrestleMania streak and Rhea Ripley still hasn't beaten me. I want her, like, not necessarily elevated, but put at the forefront of the discussion about great women's champions.
Yeah.
But I think this has been one of the better rounded storylines leading up to Mania. So this is one that I'm actually invested in.
From that point, from Io's point of view, I can see that story. Yeah. Like I say, I think the Rhea side of things has been really poorly done with this. And I think adding her has sort of like taken a bit of shine off it a little bit. But yeah, like I say, I want Bianca to win. And turn heel. John, what do you think?
With this, I completely agree with Niall, but there are two little quibbles I have with it.
Right.
And this might be highlights, so feel free to correct me if I've missed anything in this. But it feels like if you win the Elimination Chamber, your guaranteed title match is kind of irrelevant to the whims of a moaning person.
Yeah,
that's the part of it that I think they've really slipped up on, because it just seems like, oh, don't worry about winning the Rumble, don't worry about winning Elimination Chamber, just bug the GM until he goes, do you know what? Fine. Also, as someone who does contract law for a living, what Rhea did is not binding anyway, because in the drafting of the contract, the names would be, and the parties within would have already been agreed between two legal parties. Therefore, without a third legal party, nothing Rhea did in that week would have been legally binding.
That's good to know. I'm glad you cleared that up. Genuinely.
Sorry, I just want some reality, some reality in our wrestling, if we could, and if we could just get contract law in there as well, I think we could really be cooking on a new Attitude Era.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's whinging to the GM.
Yeah.
Where do we place that on getting a title shot? Because the AEW, you like to use the I'm just going to walk out and all of a sudden Tony Khan's going to book me in a title match in 2 weeks, something like that.
That's another way to win. That's another way to do it.
That's the there's the whinging at the GM. There's the automatic rematch clause that plagued the early 2000s, the main event scene.
I just wish that they like either like kind of shit. I'll get off the pot. Either have it a triple threat from the get go. Do some kind of convoluted finish, if you will, at the Elimination Chamber. Something that double pin to something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be overly complicated. Or just pick the opponent and go with if you're gonna go with EO beating Rhea, if you're gonna go with that, then it's Bianca. And that's the plan. Yeah. Rhea finds something else for Rhea to do that makes her that gives her the best use of this again, another incredible stars perfect portfolio sort of thing. Like her and Jade are a match I want at some point. I really want to see Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley at some point.
Yeah. I do. Because, but I think that the sort of.
I'm not saying necessarily for this Mania, but I mean just generally speaking, Rhea are there not options for her? Like I know she's finished with Liv Morgan. And the
but I think they shot the load too early with the Liv Morgan.
They could have probably let that go out and give her a redemption at Mania, maybe. I don't know. Again, don't watch it weekly, so feel free to correct me. And also, it makes this whole thing that I've seen of Rhea Ripley makes her look less like a dominant, confident, the mammy character, and more of just a bit of a Bret Hart, a bit of a moan, a bit of a whinge.
Bit of a whinger. Yeah. So who are you going for with this match, Jay?
EO.
You'll go with EO.
I think she should. I think she should as well. I think you need to. This is a perfect opportunity to establish someone who's obviously the fans behind her as well. Do the right thing.
Like I say, I think Bianca, Naomi comes out, helps Bianca win, they turn heel, and Bianca, she's like sort of like little heater in the background then for Bianca.
Not against that either, but yeah.
Next up, the WWE Women's Championship.
Yes.
Tiffany Stratton champion versus Charlotte Flair.
Sabrina Carpenter versus Cher. Go on, Jordan.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Oh my God! Right, so Tiffany Stratton, of the little I've seen of her, again, remind her and have you seen Mariah May in AEW now?
Yeah. Oh no.
The same. Corporate wants you to see the difference between these two pictures. Secret is they're the same. No, Tiffany Stratton looks like a brilliant wrestler. She's got some great moves, some brilliant promos. Again, great character. Really like what they've done with her from what I've seen. We're going to put Charlotte into this sort of strange category of what in the hell is going on? Because that, like, you guys posted about it, and I was sort of going, "What on earth are you lot on about?" And you sort of explained to me something about it, and I still didn't understand from your explanations what had gone on. So I went looking, and I think that is potentially one of the most disastrous wrestling segments I have ever seen.
The Chicago one.
Yeah. The one. Like I know there've been others where where there's been a bit of tetchiness, but that particular one is probably one of the worst wrestling segments I have ever seen ever. It's really, 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 really bad, and both of them were awful because you could tell that they'd lost their rags. And the idea of this happening in a Triple H WWE is weird.
So tantalizing,
but it's
tasty
great.
As well.
It's great that the.
Oh yeah. Sorry, mate. You've muted yourself.
There we go. No. I actually hit my wire. It's tantalizing that you're saying that the whatever brain rot stuff that was going on in AEW back in 2021, 2022 seems to be permeating particular egos, like a coronavirus, if you will. in WWE, and Charlotte Flair, of all people, would be the one person I did not think this would happen to. But I have not seen her since the last Mania I watched. I think the last Mania I watched was the Triple Threat with her. Was it her, Becky, and Ronda?
Yeah, where she came in on a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Listen,
finding
I'll
out,
tell you now, Jay. I've
that
been expecting this from her for a while.
no,
for a long time.
I got though. Finding out though that she was a massive knob then.
Yeah.
And it not necessarily coming out on camera, and then finding out from people that these cracks have been like sort of like covered out and stuff. Like,
yeah.
But for me, going from what my sort of remembering of what Charlotte Flair was to that, I was just like, I played that video over and over and over, and I thought 0-3 Woo was one of my favorite mic drops as well. Just gorgeous. And you know what? I cannot wait for the most unprofessional shoot match in WrestleMania history.
This is what I'm thinking. This is going to be, I said to Niall before, this is going to be like 80s Japan level shoot match. This is going to be just circling one another for like 5 minutes. The crowd booing the shit out the pair of them. Somebody like going, come on, do something. Fuck it. Like, you know.
Inject it in my veins. Give me this. Because, and I mean this in a positive way when I say this. WWE have been so good and so perfect for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Give me cracks though. Yeah. Let me see that you're not this like boring well-oiled machine where everything works all the time.
Exactly.
And, this steak at this Gordon Ramsay restaurant is perfect. No, I want the one that's a little bit off occasionally. You know what I mean? Like you just want to know that they're fallible at times, and this is a perfect example of that. And you know, to be fair though, I know there are differing opinions in this group of us, but I do feel bad for her from a personal life point of view. Obviously, that what's going on in her private life and the things that she's talked about are obviously affecting her. Yeah. However, similarly to the old CM Punk Young Bucks scenario, no one is coming out better you're not coming out better acting like a knob because other things aren't going well for you. Like it's the same sort of energy, if you will.
Yeah, definitely.
So give me shoot fights and give me Charlotte pinning Tiffany in 3 minutes, running out with the belt, everyone being going mental, referees getting involved, commentators not knowing what's happening, Triple H coming out, shouting at her wooing and walking off. Give me all of that. Just a proper. I want her mental. As much as I feel bad for her personal life, I want a professional mental breakdown.
I'm sorry. I'm just imagining Triple H doing an Inoki coming out to the ring and just like, no, fucking no. This match.
This is not what we agreed. Nope. And she's just like, woo! And Flair's drunk, like strutting down the aisle, shirtless.
I'm
Give me that.
I want the crowd reaction to be similar to Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at 21 with Austin as the referee, and when they did Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump on Raw. When the crowd started chanting TNA like vociferously on Raw. I want that sort of crowdness from the crowd, please.
Or just do Money in the Bank again, and just like when you climb over the guardrail, blow him a kiss, run off into a helicopter.
Into a helicopter waiting in the car park.
You know my booking that I talked about earlier with AEW. Yeah. I could do it with this as well. There's a helicopter. Ric Flair on a motorbike goes over the. Yeah.
For a while, we've had the Nia Jax match with Charlotte Flair that sort of ended in just fucking what the fuck happened there?
Where's she? Where's Nia Jax? Well, Didn't she? Yeah. Is she not still around?
She is, but they've got nothing for her at the moment.
She'll be in that gauntlet match, won't she, with her mate?
Candice LeRae, yeah.
Yeah, Candice, yeah.
Oh, not Tamina Snuka. She's not with her anymore.
No, God, no.
Am I still?
Tamina's not about anymore. Yeah.
Am I still in the early 2000s?
But what did you say? I think, Yeah, there was the Nia Jax match. Then there was the sort of belt handover
Ooh,
with
yeah.
better
Becky Lynch.
I've
Becky
seen
Lynch.
that. Is that the one where they just she gets all bitchy and like throws it at her or something?
Throws
Yeah.
it at her. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Becky's just
yeah. I've
like,
seen
yeah,
that.
yeah, all right, nice
And I
one.
tell you
Cheers.
what, if Sonya Deville wasn't in the middle of them two, it would have gone up.
Yeah, big
Because
time, big time.
as I pointed out online, Sonya Deville is an MMA fighter. Charlotte's a fucking gymnast. Big difference.
Yeah, big
But
time.
yeah, that was like there was heat for days after that. I think Becky
Yeah.
brings it up in her autobiography as well. Like basically, Charlotte's a fucking entitled prick.
Yeah, and I think that sort of ego has been growing and growing and growing, and now she's come back, and it's at a point now where she's out of control, and there's no way Mr. Levesque is controlling her properly because he thinks he sees her as obviously Flair's daughter, but I think he sees her as a golden goose for her. You know that she's going to, be the big star for years to come. And
When she's on a game though, she is undeniably one of the best women
Oh,
talents that's ever existed.
ring.
So it's
in ring, she's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, she's great, but
You
she's got this fucking attitude outside the ring, and she's got the face now to suit her attitude. She's gone away and had plastic surgery. She's come back and she looks like she's got a proper mood on all the time. So she's got the face to suit her attitude now. But yeah, so who are you going with then, Jay, for this one?
Charlotte Flair, 3 minutes, helicopter.
No.
Tiffany Stratton. And that's going to be a last-minute change.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. Oh fucking hell! I'm gonna go with Charlotte just for the crowd reaction. I just want that crowd to turn on. I want the Vegas crowd to turn on this match so much.
It's a good job it's in Vegas and not in Chicago or Philadelphia.
It's a shame it's not in with this going on. It's a
I
shame
know.
it's not.
Imagine this in Chicago. This would be
fucking brilliant.
In Canada,
Fucking brilliant.
If it was in Canada, like somewhere just that got it, like there was like.
Where's Tiffany from? Where's she from?
Oh, I don't know where she's built from.
Yeah.
Wherever her hometown is. It's a shame it's not from there. We do that. That'd be fucking hilarious.
But yeah, just going on to just touching on the whole Charlotte thing. She loves playing the heel, but she doesn't like the heel heat.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't like a rogue crowd heel heat.
No,
you know what I mean.
That crowd threw her on Friday big time.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't let her go. And again,
and some of the stuff Tiffany said to her, because a couple of weeks ago they'd had a face-to-face on TV monitors sort of thing, and I think Charlotte had said a couple of things and sort of steamrolled over Tiffany and not let her speak and whatnot. So Tiffany this time was just like, fuck you. If you're not going to let me speak, I'm going to say my little things. I'm going to fucking get you over here. And there was a couple of things, I think over the weekend it's come out that backstage Charlotte wasn't happy with some of the things that she said in that promo, and it's all sort of kicked off a little bit backstage. So Trips is he's going to walk a very tight rope on this one.
But it's like I said to you with the side-by-side interview they did on the videos. Charlotte knew in advance what Tiffy was going to say.
Yeah.
But instead of actually letting Tiffy say a piece and then coming in, like you said, she steamrolled all over
her. Yeah.
And
so Tiffany had to get her shots back in, and now we're at a point where it's going to be Earthquake versus Kenta.
Yeah, and that cringe line that finished everything was when Charlotte was like, "Why is Kaiser in my DMs?" I was like, "Get out."
Why is he though? I mean, come on, let's analyze this as wrestling fans. Let's figure: is there a turn coming?
What with
you know what I mean? Like if is he in her DMs? Have we seen?
No, because he responded on Twitter basically saying with the Shawn Michaels gif of "Don't flatter yourself."
Well, maybe not, but that could be a diversion to make for the reveal at Mania that he is in fact up in her DMs.
Up in her DMs, but will we get an Andrade appearance in this match during this match in Tiffany's corner?
You know that video on your iPhone that you can do on an iPhone where you can move it up and down and show your chat history. Has he done that? No, he's posting GIFs like a guilty man would.
Right. Next up, World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus Jey Uso. Um, until Gunther absolutely destroyed Jey, I had no interest in this match really.
Jimmy.
No, Jimmy, sorry. I had no interest in this match. Gunther is great. I am just not interested in Jey Uso and his yeeting. I think he proved that last year's Mania, where him and Jimmy had that match, that was just fucking so meh, so mid, as MJF would say, that it was unbelievable. That he can't really carry a match on his own. So I think this is going to be mainly Gunther doing most of the work, and then Jay getting a sneaky win at the end. And so I think Jay's going to win, but I don't think he deserves it. I think Gunther should beat him, basically, really. But I don't think that's going to happen. Niall, what do you reckon?
Well, last night, and they are cutting it a bit close on Raw. Jimmy came out. Jay came out dressed in black.
Right.
So we knew that something serious was going to go down. There was no yeeting, except from Cole and McAfee, as usual. We had the big speech about, basically, first of all, Jay hit the microphone out of Gunther's hand. He was like, "You listen to me, you large bastard," and basically said, my mum was in a nutshell. I'm paraphrasing. My mum was well pissed off that you beat up my brother, and she was well pissed off that I didn't stop it. So I'm going to hit you in the face at WrestleMania, and I'm just going to beat you. I've had very little interest in this because it just feels like a big weird mismatch.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
100%.
know, for example, the more sort of extreme mismatches in the past, like Big Show versus Mysterio. Yeah, I get it. But these two, I don't know, man.
No, I'm just not feeling the connection between the two of them. There's no spiciness. If it was like Gunther versus Roman and they were throwing the Usos at him week by week, and then at Mania he's going to get Roman. Yeah, I understand that, but I don't. I know that they're trying to make Jay this main event star. I think him winning the Rumble was quite an interesting, you know, way forward or whatever. But unfortunately, he's got to go against Gunther, and I think Gunther's got more star power in him and more main event, and they need to keep the belt on Gunther to keep that relevancy. And I think they're going to put it on Jay just to give it that, because he's got the yeet thing going on. It's going to put that title in, a higher main event, a sort of higher mid card Stratus than Gunther can put it in at the minute. It's a bit of a weird situation they've got themselves in with this.
It is because between the Rumble and Mania, the Akira Tozawa has been involved, Otis has been involved, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have been involved, and they're like pre-show at best. And I'm like, what the fuck is even? Because it usually ends with Jay coming in to save someone or whatever. And then for some reason, Waller and Theory teamed up against Jay, and it was just all very weird. It was all too distracting.
Yeah, yeah. I, I, I don't know. I think the European tour has flattered to deceive them.
Yeah.
With Jey Uso. I really do. I don't think, he'd have been getting the responses he's been getting over the past few weeks if they were in Tulsa, or Kentucky or somewhere like that. Jay, what are you reckoning?
I kind of agree again. I find with Jey Uso that what I've seen, he's obviously over with the crowd. He's got a connection with them. Everyone enjoys to do a bit of a yeet. Yeeting has become the new what? I
In a
found
way,
that
yeah.
I
Yeah.
proper loved what they were trying to do with that promo on Monday. But why the hell are the crowd yeeting in between each line?
Mm.
What you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a blood feud. This is some serious stuff, and it
See, the
almost
thing though, crowds are going to crowd, aren't they? So
well. This has
like the
become
what thing was just a thing I think crowds wanted to do.
it's kind of
Um,
part of my my kind of dislike of it's more prevalent in WWE than it is in AEW because of the stature and the status and what it is. But there are more. It feels like there are more influencer pricks. It feels like there are more meme people. People want to be memes. People want to be Brock. You know, that the shocked face when Lesnar won. When the Miz upset that girl. Like, they all want the big reaction shot so they can gif it and send it to their parents and say, "Look, I've done something with my life." That kind of thing. They want to. This is my sort of bugbear with European crowds as well, and it's also kind of a bugbear with international crowds in general. Is that the crowd, the fans now seem to want to be more a part of the show rather than a enhancement or an element. Like, like in pantomime.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is. Oh yes, he is. Oh no, he isn't. He's behind you. All that sort of stuff is what the crowd should really be doing, not dictating and ruining important moments like that. And especially with what they're trying to do with a guy who's kind of come across as clumsy, kind of come across as a bit of a dumbass, really. In the way that he's not, it's kind of in the way he's been presented. It's not really Jay's fault. I mean, then again, no, stop doing topes. You can't do them. He always clips his leg and falls. Stop. Can't do it. Pick a different move. But I was on board when he won the Royal Rumble. I like that. I like a little bit of a surprise. I like a little bit of a change of pace. I, like everyone else, thought that Cena was winning the Rumble. I think I predicted Cena during our Rumble episode. And when it was him and Jey Uso, I was like, well, we know where this is going. Big match, John. Yeah. And they did what they did. But I don't think he's been booked particularly strong as a competent challenger to Gunther. I think Gunther looks smarter. I think he looks bigger. I think he looks stronger. I think he looks more like the sort of person who should win. Yeah. And when Jey Uso does win, which is my prediction, I don't think it'll do what they've hoped for or intended, really. And it's a shame because I don't think Jey Uso is particularly, awful. He's a good wrestler. He's a good promo. He's got things in the locker. I just don't think that he's been presented the way that he should be, and it's a bit of a shame. And Gunther, in theory, should eat him up and spit him out.
Really, that's what I think as well. But Triple H booking, the years of Vince booking just leads me to say Jey Uso's winning this. There's no other way around it. Now, what do you reckon you'll win it? Sorry, did you say?
I reckon Jay's going to win it, but I really want Gunther to win it.
Yeah, there's. Our hearts say Gunther, but our heads say Jay.
My body is telling me no.
So let's go. Night one's main event, though, because we know this for sure. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. On paper, right? This is a stellar main event, or it should be. But also, on paper, it's got two people I just don't give a shit about, and CM Punk in it as well, So, and like this favor that CM Punk wanted turns out to be Paul Heyman's in CM Punk's corner at WrestleMania. And we're supposed to think that that's some sort of amazing revelation that, I honestly thought the favor was going to be if Punk wins, he goes on to be in Cody Rhodes and Cena's match. And I thought that would be a great little sort of twist to it, So you main events night one, and then he goes on to main events night two as well and gets the championship off Cody. I thought that would have been a good way of doing it, but they've not mentioned anything like that. The favour seems to be that Paul Heyman's in CM Punk's corner rather than being in Roman Reigns' corner, and I could not give a single fuck about that. Niall, sell me on this match with his head in his hands.
There's plot holes in this one because if you if you go back to Paul Heyman's Hall of Fame speech, he's like, I'm not managing anyone else ever, 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 ever. And we're like, okay, Paul, you're going to basically retire alongside the tribal chief. That's fine. That's great. That's you do you. I get the beef between Punk and Punk and Rollins. I think everybody does. It's
yeah,
well
simple.
obvious.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of this match. I could see Punk versus Rollins. I could see Reigns versus Rollins. I couldn't see Punk versus Reigns unless it was for a championship.
Yeah. I think it's putting this on as well is being disrespectful to Gunther and Jey Uso.
I think that the plan was always for Punk to have a Mania main event. I think the plan was for him to have Mania last year as one of the main events, but he got injured in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Don't worry, Phil, we're going to get you in the main event." And then like all of this happens, with Reigns and Rollins and Cody Rhodes and Cena coming back as well kind of derailed the whole thing because Cena was basically like, I'm going to do a year and then I'm off. So I think conceivably without Cena, he could have probably had Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the World Championship.
Right.
So it does feel a little bit like they're trying to shoehorn Punk into the main event somehow.
Yeah.
With everything that went on at the Chamber and the Rumble and whatever, with the curb stomp and all that sort of stuff. What pissed me off last night, Seth Rollins cut a really fucking good promo with Paul Heyman. But then when he missed him with a stomp and he's like, now you owe me a favor, I'm like, Seth, that's not how favors work, mate.
No.
And there's a lot of people suggesting that it's going to be a big double turn, that Heyman's actually going to join Rollins. Rollins doesn't need Heyman.
No.
The only way he'd need Heyman is to basically say a big fuck you to Punk and Reigns. And he is that bitch, basically. But I can't see Heyman just doing that for the sake of, because what does he get from pissing off?
Yeah, Roman and Punk at the same time.
Yeah.
I
think the match itself, from an actual physical wrestling standpoint, is going to be pretty good. But it just feels a little bit too cobbled together almost.
Yeah. Jay?
Convoluted is the word of the day on my toilet paper this morning. So the one part of the Heyman potentially joining Seth theory that's going around, I liked the justification that Rollins gave Heyman, because Roman Reigns does treat Paul Heyman like shit. Right, so obviously there's definitely room for him to turn on the old tribal chief, and Punk did desert Heyman in a way, and if Rollins feels like that Punk turned his back on WWE and all that sort of stuff, so you could be forgiven for for going down that path and saying that he's managed to convince him. I mean, he was the David Koresh of WWE for a while, wasn't he? When he was the old, he was banging Rey Mysterio's daughter or something. I don't remember exactly what creepy storyline that was, but he did something like that, didn't he?
Who's Rollins?
Yeah, didn't he? Wasn't he all like when he took Rey
Mysterio's
Mysterio's eye out?
When he took Rey Mysterio's eye out, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he all like mind controlling his daughter or something? Like,
because she was going out with Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, and then
Buddy Murphy.
And then he wasn't. So
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, so there is kind of a thread through it, but again, what we're doing is we're taking all these ideas and all these kind of
bits.
I don't know, these bits of stories and these bits of ideas and these bits of feuds, and we're frog roaring them into a match.
Yeah.
And this is why I've not had a single real bit of interest in this. The one thing about it, though, and I think everyone's going to potentially disagree with me on this, but Roman Reigns has been bloody brilliant during this. I think that Roman Reigns has literally been the best part of it because there's something about him that I never really got. I think I appreciated and liked the Bloodline storyline. It was for a while the only thing that I ever watched in WWE because I was like, this is actually quite good. But when he's in there with them two, the contract signing where Punk's crying over the fact that he's been given this favor for the main event, and he's like, the guy's crying, and I do this every year, that kind of thing. Like, and I was just like, oh, that's beautiful lines. That's a Mindy.
From the Succotash days, he's improved a lot on the microphone.
And that's the kind of thing that would normally send Punk to Mindy's Bakery. But now, because he's on the apology tour, and he's getting his main event for the first night, technically not the main event, but let's not split hairs. But he's getting that. I don't know. The other problem I've got with this feud, and it's probably me being an old-fashioned fuddy-duddy, is who's the face? Who's the heel?
I think the answer is to that question is yes.
Yeah, isn't it? Because what you've got is three tweeners, the worst status in wrestling. Like genuinely the worst status in wrestling, and you've got three of them in one match. Because Punk attacked Roman Reigns from behind.
And has now stolen his manager, in effect.
So
that's the sort of heel move.
And what he's doing is putting Paul Heyman, his apparent best friend, in a very awkward situation with his other toxic client. Knowing full well the kind of wrath that Roman Reigns would put out on people, as we've seen in his Bloodline days when he had Jimmy J and Sami Zayn involved. And you see the kind of, the kind of character Roman Reigns is, and you mess around with that, and you piss on that, and you have a little dig on that. And then you take a guy like Seth Rollins, of whether you agree with his philosophy on CM Punk or not, and you sort of see him just sort of mock him, and do you get what I mean? Like, there's no
I think the way it is,
hero
I think
to cheer for in this.
Seth Rollins is the face, Punk is the tweener, and Roman Reigns is the heel, like on paper, if you will.
But then last night he attacks Paul Heyman, a 50, 60, 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all doing heel stuff to each other, and no one's a hero. And I guess the idea is that Punk's the hero in Chicago and working class stuff and all this kind of thing. But the things he's doing and saying are very, very, very heel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of heel versus heel doesn't work. It's a terrible thing. Sticking three of them in there and then blurring the lines.
To counteract your he attacked Heyman thing, obviously Heyman is Reigns' manager, so that's like, if Hogan got his hands on Bobby Heenan,
and a heel as well, or a tweener as well. He's a tweener as well.
He is, but he's aligned with Roman Reigns more at the minute, and now he's been taken away and put into sort of Punk's corner. He's playing the sort of Deborah McMahon role for some reason.
But like, if you tell this story with CM Punk being an out and out babyface, everything that Heyman says and does would give you a lot more sympathy for him, and you'd agree with what Punk's trying to do.
Yeah.
But even Punk, when he talks to Heyman, he treats him like shit. Like at the beginning of the show when he was just like, wait, Roman Reigns isn't here. Ha! Well, screw you then, Paul. I'm off now. Bye, mate. And Paul's there sort of going, no, I need to know. Oh, you've done all this for me. Thank you very much. That's not the favor. Thank you would be bloody nice, you ungrateful twat. Like, do you get what I'm saying, though? It's very much booked this kind of like mean, everything's got a mean-spirited, selfish, self-righteous tinge to it from every character. And it's not drawing me in because I'm just kind of like, I don't know who to detest. And because I detest Rollins and Punk as characters anyway at the minute, I like Roman because he's at least funny.
I like the fact that in the promos and the contract signing, Roman's just sat there like chair fully back, feet on the desk, like, oh, here we go, another WrestleMania main event, whatever. Pass me the pen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You children fight. All right. I've done
I'll
this
be here.
before. Yeah, I'll
I'll
be
just be
over here.
waiting. Yeah.
You know, but like I
Right.
said,
So
that's my sort of gripe with it, I guess, and that's a
yeah.
shame because, like you both said, like if you stick these three names on a marquee,
Yeah.
that's a good piece of business.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
way that again, the way that they've
I'll
approached
buy
it,
a ticket to that. You know, with
but
those three on there.
sorry, I've just remembered another little gripe, and then we'll move on. Is this also means that winning the Royal Rumble is pointless because if you've got a mate who can get you into the main event
Yeah.
of WrestleMania, what's the point of winning the fucking Royal Rumble then?
Yeah.
Because but now, don't get me wrong, in terms of stature of match, quality of star, etc., that should 100% be the top of the bill on that night. But your stipulation when you win the Royal Rumble is you get to main event WrestleMania for the World Championship of your choice.
Yeah.
And this year, both of those stipulations have been completely undercut by people either moaning to the GM or insider trading.
Yeah.
And
basically. And that's why I say I think it's a bit of an embarrassment to Gunther and Jey Uso that this match is now the main event of night one, because I think Gunther and Jey Uso should, or Charlotte and Tiffany, should have
again
headlined.
And if that's not your plan, don't book it.
Yeah.
Let Cena win the Royal Rumble and have him challenge Cody. If you're gonna go down that route for the match,
yeah,
you could probably still get away with the heel turn and stuff.
But I think
maneuver it different. But
the way they did it was quite subtle with Cena's heel turn. When you go back and look at it now, the way he just put himself in the chamber, everybody else had to go through a qualifying match.
Yeah.
And Cena just sort of came out with the pay-per-view, said, I'm entering the elimination chamber, threw down the mic and walked off so no one could fucking question him, no one could say anything. And then that was just made official. Like, so, it started the heel turn that.
Yeah, I was saying that they could have potentially got there a different way. But what I mean is don't. But then let Punk win the main event, win the Royal Rumble, and then do that thing. And I don't know, do what you did with the women's title and have Reigns or Rollins take the belt off Gunter, or even put Punk and Gunter together. But give him do it that way, because the whole point of winning the Rumble is that. The whole point of winning the Elimination Chamber is that.
To be fair, I'm just thinking now, when you say fantasy booking before, I'm just thinking here now, I've just fantasy booked a 4-way match with Punk, Gunther, Rollins and Reigns, because you could have that, Punk wins the Rumble, right, I'm going to challenge Gunther, that's going to be the main event at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns comes out and says, no, I'm the main event at WrestleMania, you're not, la la la. Then he gets into it, it's a 3-way, and then Seth Rollins comes out, no, I'm not having this, I hate you, blah blah blah. It becomes a 4-way. That would have been, I think, a little bit of a better way of doing it than the way they've gone about it now.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
So who have we all got for this one then?
You what?
Who have we all got for this one?
This is the tough one for me. Who's winning this? So I'm gonna go Punk. I think Punk's winning it. I don't think there's, I think he's been going on about it that much now. Getting his main event. I think that they've got to give him the win. If they go anywhere else, it'll be just, well, what was the fucking point of that? What's the point of giving it to Roman or Seth? I don't.
I mean, I probably am going to go down the lines of Seth winning it.
I'm inclined to agree. Seth, there'll be some big explosive reveal, and Seth runs laughing at Mania and generates even more heel heat.
there's a life after WrestleMania. There's not been a storyline that necessarily this storyline doesn't need to conclude at Mania.
Yeah.
This isn't one of those. And for me, I think that you need to build the intrigue. I wouldn't be a fully against Heyman going, you know what? You have both treated me like shit. I'm going with Sethy Boy here. I wouldn't be against that because ultimately, Punk is better as a guy chasing, righting the wrong than achieving the goal. It's always a better thing with him. I'd go down that route possibly. I don't know what you. The problem is though, because it's a three-way, then you've got to kind of tell the same story with Roman.
Well, yeah,
what
do you do with Roman?
Yeah, because Roman's going to be mad that Heyman turned on him as well.
Yeah.
So you know what? They've just created a mess. So now I don't know anymore. I don't have a logical answer for you. I Am Speed comes in and beats them all. There you go.
I'll do you one better.
Well,
Ryback comes in,
oh,
hits Punk with a chair,
yes,
runs back out.
And becomes Seth Rollins' new muscle. It's Rollins, Heyman, and Ryback.
Mm-hmm.
RHR.
Now we're talking.
So.
When does the helicopter spot come in?
The final match then, the night 2 main event.
The main event
of WrestleMania. Undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes, the champion, versus Juan Cena, the heel, John Cena. I've enjoyed the build to this slightly. I think it has been stuck on repeat whilst in Europe. And it's just been John Cena comes to the ring at the start of the show, cuts a good promo. Cody Rhodes comes out, cuts an okay promo, and then Cena walks off. That was week 1 and week 2. Week 3, instead of Cena walking off, Cody hit him with a crossroads. That was the only difference. I think. Oh, and Cody had a bit of a decent promo. I think the 3rd week, he cut a few things on. He mentioned Vince McMahon, and everybody in the crowd went, "Ooh." But yeah, I do think it's been lacking a little bit in the build on this, but I am intrigued by this match. I do think I am. Oh, this is two wrestlers I cannot stand. We're on and I'm on a different level with John Cena. I think I've obviously sat through years of his fucking work, and I think it was the Umaga match that really turned me on Cena, and I couldn't. I really liked Umaga, and he just steamrolled through him at the Royal Rumble that year, and I just went off in big time. But Cody Rhodes obviously ended racism. And did you know Cody Rhodes' father is Dusty Rhodes? I don't know if he's ever mentioned that, but
really,
that is a true fact. So, we've got the entrance versus the rapper. I don't know who I want to win this, but I think Cody should, and I think Cena going out as a heel, sort of like being a bitch for the rest of the year, would be amazing. I think if Cena went out as a heel, I'd stand up and give him a round of applause. At some point, though, I'm thinking the Survivor Series, SummerSlam, just after SummerSlam, he's going to turn back face. Or they're going to try and turn him back face. I think the crowd's just going to be like, nah, fuck off. We enjoy this too much. Niall, what do you reckon?
Quite simply, it's going to be John Cena getting number 17 and Ric Flair having an absolute fucking meltdown. And threatening he'll be turning up at every WWE live event, hammering on the doors, going, give me a match, give me a match.
Do you reckon Cena's going to win and
Cena's going to win?
Story?
And he's going to stay heel until at least SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Because him and Cody's promos the past few weeks have been fucking brilliant. There's not been enough of a continuity in that, they're appearing like every single week. I think that was like what the European tour was for, so that everyone could see Cena and Cody. But yeah, I think Cena's got this number 17.
But what's this? Burp, burp. A wild rock has appeared and has thrown a spanner into your plans and has decided that no, Cena should turn on me. If they bring out the Rock right at the end of this match and Cena wins and then has to hand over the belt to the Rock and Cena says no and tries to go face again, I think they've fucking wasted the last few weeks and they've absolutely wasted this Cena heel turn. I'm hoping that doesn't happen and The Rock just sort of stays out of it for the time being.
The Rock is confirmed to be not at WrestleMania.
Ooh. I don't believe it for a second. But
he lost his shit on social media because someone was like, he's not going to be there. And he's like, I'm not going to be there, but you shouldn't spoil it for everybody.
Well, we'll see. I bet he's there now too. He no chance he's not going to appear for this. But anyway, Jay, what do you reckon?
I'm sorry, Niall. I'm not as optimistic about this as you are. I've not enjoyed the promo stuff in the slightest. No, I do not buy or like the pivot that they've seemingly done with John Cena. None of this. If Rock is doing the old boy soul thing, and wants. Does anyone get that joke, by the way? Because you read it. So. You read it last month, and you just kind of read it really stoically, and I don't think you got what I was doing, did you?
No.
So in Always Sunny, there's a joke where they do a musical, and it's you got to pay the toll troll if you want to get inside this boy's soul.
Right.
Soul. Oh, thank you. Anyway, I thought I needed to explain that because, like Big Tasty says, like I know there's always dead air when one of us tells a joke, and it sounds like everything bombs. But your delivery absolutely fucking killed that. Anyway, sorry. So, but yeah, the problem I've got with this is that why Cena turned heel because of his toxic relationship with the fans.
Yeah.
So why did Rock have to signal him then? Why did Rock have to be involved?
That's the thing that I'm saying that this is why Rock's going to appear. They've got to explain this.
Yeah, but still, it needed to have a Rock presence. He didn't need to be there all the time, but there needed to be something of like, I've done this, and I've like even if you keep going down this idea of the toxic relationship with the fans, you mistreated me, you were horrible to me for yonks and here we go.
Yeah,
that's great, but The Rock influenced me. The Rock made me see the light. The Rock made me understand because you did it to him. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Some form of explanation as to why it was significant. The Rock doing the whole neck slice thing.
Yeah, I do think they need to explain that a little bit,
especially when with The Rock being like, "I want Cody, I want you to join me." Oh, you're not joining me. All right. Well, look what I've managed to do. I've corrupted the uncorruptible. Yeah. The most uncorruptible person in the world. I did that, and do something with that of just to give it a reason, because that's the only thing I've been waiting for. That's the thing that mainly intrigued me when I sent the email to you guys saying this could get Attitude Era level business to the WWE.
Yeah,
that was what I was kind of thinking was gonna occur. I don't know, maybe like a corporate, the corporation in a new form, maybe something like that, with The Rock manipulating, using his power, using his influence,
stage influence, and all that.
And look how powerful and influential I am. I corrupted Mr. Uncorruptible.
Yeah.
To join me, I got his soul.
Yeah.
And that be a thing. The other thing that I would love an answer for is if The Rock felt this way, sorry, if Cena felt this way, which apparently has been boiling for years and he's always felt like that, why did he help Cody last year at Mania?
Yeah, true.
Again, something I don't, you know, if you bring the Rock element into it,
yeah,
you justify it. Oh, he made
Yeah.
me see the light. He made me realize that I made a mistake last year. But
I think the
I don't know.
I've not seen last night's Raw. We've probably got next week's Raw as well, and then we've got Mania. We've got time for Cena to come out and say something about that. I think still before we get to Mania,
I
on the go-on
think
show.
Cena's done until maybe the Raw before Mania.
So that's next week's. That's next week's, isn't it? Oh, we've got one more.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah, that's next week. So we've got, I think, a Cena promo coming that will say, "This is why I did it for The Rock." This is why I did what I did, sort of thing.
Yeah, I know, but I just, like I said, I just want that. I need that clarification for me to to get on board with the rest of it, because that justification makes what he's saying now make sense.
Yeah,
but because of what he's done previous to this, it doesn't sing with me. I also would like him to not deliver promos like a heel like he does with his sucker and succotash sort of delivery. It's too hammy for me.
But that's Cena. He's made of ham. He is ham.
He's a Sammy Sun meat, isn't he?
He is a big block of ham wrapped in a massive amount of cheese. The fucking his Yoda promo. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When he came out on Raw, just started fucking cutting a promo in Yoda's voice.
Yeah.
The when he got really angry at the camera that one time, that was fucking hilarious. That where just into the camera, that was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
The whole Zack Ryder, Eve Torres story thing, he was cheesy as fuck all the way through that. He's never been good. The one thing I thought was amazing, and I was hoping he was going to carry on doing that or just fucking walk off. In the very first promo, he comes out, and at the very start of it, I think he said something like, like on Instagram, he's very philosophy, and he posts like meaningful shit on Instagram all the time. He came out and he said a line at the start of the promo was something like, "If you expect something, you'll receive nothing in return," or something like that. And he said it very quietly and very sort of like into the camera. And I thought, if you just don't say anything now and walk off, this will be one of the best heel promos of all time, and acted very, very well. But he carried on then at that point. Yeah. And I think if he'd have come out over these last few weeks, and instead of cutting a promo about, "Oh, you did it because of you fans, I did it because of this," if he'd have just come out and said inspirational quotes like, a bird in the hand is worth two in a bush, or some shit like whatever the fuck it is. Like,
Eric, he becomes Eric Cantona.
And then yeah, pretty much. If he come out to the ring and said, the seagulls, when they follow the trawler, they expect fish to be thrown over to the other outside, and then just walked off, shit like that. Wow, fucking A, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But then he went on, and I think that's where it's sort of fallen down a little bit.
Yeah.
So who are you having for winning then? Who do you reckon's winning? Niall?
John Cena.
John Cena?
John Cena.
Jay?
Yeah, John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah. Give like, I want to see Ric Flair have an embolism. Like, I just want to see it. Like,
I've got long-term booking for this. So Cena wins. Come December the 31st, it's over. He's got number 17. Give it 2 or 3 years. Get Randy Orton to make it 18.
No, you see, now we've been at this point before where Cena could win number 17, and who stopped him?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart from the Daily Show. So if Jon Stewart,
bloody liberals.
Will John Stewart be in Las Vegas to protect us all from the John Cena?
Do you think John Cena should be like? So do you think John Stewart should be John Cena's Pete Rose?
Yeah, I really do. At
That
this
would be
point, and
bloody
around this
incredible,
topic,
wouldn't it?
yeah, just fucking John Stewart appears just to try and stop John Cena yet again becoming 17-foot
Dressed as a golden knight for the hockey team is a mascot of that.
Yeah, whatever,
Down.
whatever. A Las Vegas random mascot. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
No problem.
Just hit him over the head with facts about the trade deficit and the hypocrisy of Fox News, and
No, give him a really
balls to the deck.
like he did last time.
Then again, if you did that, Cody would fall over as well.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work for him.
Yeah.
I'd just like to give a little bit of an in memoriam for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens match that got cut.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens is out with a neck injury, isn't he now?
He's requiring surgery. Yeah, I don't think he's got many years left in the ring now.
I mean, considering some of the weight, I mean, some of the bumps that he was taking apparently with a bad neck is quite something.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think from what happened with Nick Aldis that we're getting Nick Aldis's in-ring return at Mania, or do you think?
Well, there's two former free agents that have recently re-signed with WWE, but I would probably leave them until the Raw after Mania.
Yeah. I don't think any point of putting him with someone debuting. There's no point. It's not like what they did with Rollins and Cody. It's not like that, is it? Like, you know,
if they give little Tommy End his debut at Mania against Randy Orton, right? I think that will be the biggest thing they will ever do with little Tommy End. Because if he debuts after Mania, he'll be put in his little back room where he's just talking about fighting people. I want to fight people. I want to shit in a little room and fight people. Hey, I'm Tommy End. Where's my friend's buddy and hoodie?
I was thinking more that WrestleMania actually falls on Rusev Day.
I mean, it does, doesn't it? Which is quite handy.
Either of those two. If you sign either of those two, you get what you get what you're given, I think, and you're not going to get given much. I don't understand why people are fucking fawning over the pair of them. Their AEW careers are, but I mean, Aleister Black, Tommy End, whatever you want to call him, look at Tommy End. I think he had a better AEW career than Miro did, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think both of them in the WWE will do absolutely fuck all. Look at Andrade. Look at what Andrade's done.
Oh, can I point something out about this with those guys? So in when you leave WWE, the thing that made AEW hot initially was the fact that disgruntled those guys had potential WWE guys would go over to AEW with creative freedom and the ability to be themselves and become stars, and then they sort of didn't.
No.
And that's kind of what happened with Miro in particular. I mean, Miro was also plagued with bad luck with injuries and stuff. But
he was, but I mean, come on, some of the matches he had in that arcade match.
Well, Miro's video game thing was his idea. Like he went in with the idea of I'll be this.
Yeah,
we'll do something with because he was doing the video game channel. I think the thing at the minute is because there are guys now leaving AEW and going to WWE. That's exciting. That's the exciting thing now.
Yeah,
ex-WWE guys going to AEW isn't exciting anymore because there's been
too many of them.
Well, there's probably been more flops than there have been successes.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, and it's turned into the old TNA thing of you're not asked about WWE guys going there, but you are slightly asked about TNA guys going over to WWE.
When you're in NXT and you've got three talents that have been in the business 12, 15, 20 years, and you're chanting Tony fumbled about it, sorry, you're actually doing a massive disservice to those three guys that are here that have come over to NXT. And number two, those guys have been in the business 10, 15, 20 years between them, and they need development. You know what I mean? Like they're obviously the reason they didn't work in AEW isn't because of anything other than the fact that they're not ready for TV. That's why they've gone to NXT. The people that were ready for TV, Penta, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is those kind of levels to this.
Yeah. I think Ricky Starks or Ricky Saint wants too much too soon.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's his problem. Definitely,
I think all ego Ethan Page again, good wrestler, great wrestler. Do you see Ethan Page with any WWE development and the WWE machine behind him raising that gold belt at Mania? Do you?
I'm not asking Ethan Page in the fucking slide in the slides. Same with Sean Spears.
Sean Spears as well. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
you won't get those guys. Ricky Starks states whatever. He's not going to be main event in WrestleMania. That's not happening.
Not with his Bruce Forsyth poses. No, he's not. No.
And him looking like Tom Hanks. Gross. It's like, oh, you noticed how what's he called? Shibata looks like Rob McElhenney.
I have now.
I'm gonna keep doing this. By the way, this is my new segment on these shows. I've noticed I've done this a few times where I've gone like, this wrestler looks like this guy.
Wrestling lookalikes.
Shibata, Rob McElhenney. But it is this thing of like at the minute that's what's exciting, and I think that's why there's hype behind Miro and Tommy and Malachi. What is he? He's Malachi something else in WWE.
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black. It was Aleister Black rather than Malachi Black, wasn't it? It was his first name that was different.
So Tommy End on the Indies, Aleister Black WWE, and Malachi Black in AEW. Yeah.
But the fear is that, like, the thing is that they, like you said with Andrade, he'll come in and he'll do some mid-card, undercard stuff.
Honestly, like I say, if you have him in the match at Mania against Randy Orton, his entrance will be the biggest thing that he'll do in that return.
Yeah, it'll get a pop because it's I remember that guy. It's a big return.
Oh, yeah.
And
like the Hardys, when they returned, and everyone was like, oh my God, the Hardys are returning. Yay. And then like 3 weeks later, they were like, oh my God, the Hardys have returned. Shit, what do we do with them now?
This is pretty awful.
We'll put them in a feud with Bray Wyatt. Yeah, that'll work.
Or when they come into AEW and it's like, oh, the Hardys are here. Great. Yeah. Oh, the Hardys are here.
The Hardys are here. Shit. Oh, shit.
I knew about this.
Great. that's the level we're at now. The Hardys are here. Oh, great. Great.
Rampage for you, I guess. but it is this thing at the minute of big boy one-upsmanship at the minute, and like WWE have got all the playing cards in terms of the wrestling.
Because the pendulum swung to their side in terms of momentum and everything at the moment. And
in 2019, people wanted non-Vince wrestling.
Yeah,
so they got that in AEW, and that's why AEW got the swelling and the thing that it got. When Vince went away and TKO bought it and everything like that, and Triple H came in, now it's an exciting new thing.
Yeah.
But when it could be 3 years, it could be 4 years, it could be 10 years, whatever. When even with Vince McMahon at his peak, there's this period straight after the peak where the secret sauce, the recipe's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And it's dog shit, and we hate it. And the pendulum will swing and looking for something else, and it'll swing back again. And currently, the pendulum swing and the exciting thing for prospect people from AEW and the Indies is to go to WWE, because at the minute, WWE is the faultless, can't do wrong product.
Yeah,
I would go as far as to say specifically NXT.
You think?
Because they're really, really pushing their black wrestlers, women wrestlers, and there's a lot of depth in terms of the talent and storylines that are going on there as well.
Jesus, Danny must hate the NXT.
I don't like the women's.
I made him watch an entire episode the other month. He was just,
there's no baking on this. What are they doing here?
It was awful. I will say that if you look at the card, there isn't a single male, black male, on the card for Mania.
But at Stand and Deliver, the NXT Mania.
Sorry, Cody Rhodes is on the card.
Yeah. At Stand and Deliver, your main event for the NXT Championship is Javon Evans,
Mm-hmm.
Trick Williams, and King Obafemi.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of black representation though on WrestleMania, there are actually more than we're giving them credit for. There's Jade.
Well, on the females,
Naomi.
that's why I said males. On the female
males.
side, there is
Jey Uso.
Mm,
Isn't he? Isn't he mixed race?
I don't
Or is he pure or is he just Samoan?
think he may be Samoan. I'm not 100% sure upon that.
Okay.
I will say I'm not 100% sure on that.
Then yeah, what? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Producer Rick, can you cut my intolerance out, please, Producer Rick?
No, yeah, Jey Uso's mum is, by the looks of things, right, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's stop talking about this. Talusa Falavia. I can't pronounce that, but that it looks. She seems Samoanish. So yeah. Oh, we've got ourselves into a corner here.
Niall, would you like to bury yourself
pull
by
ourselves
chance?
out of this estate very quickly?
Oh,
right.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, are we looking forward to this Mania or are we not? What, Niall? What do you reckon?
I wish we had more time on the road. I wish the time on the road to WrestleMania had been spent better.
Want more time on the road to WrestleMania? We've had about 8
No. I wish we'd had more. We'd had better use of the time.
Better usage of the time. Yeah.
It's felt like we've been stuck in a fucking traffic jam and our Game Boy's batteries have run out.
Yeah.
Like, it has been a shitty journey with a couple of nice, interesting stops at a few service stations. I think that's been the road to WrestleMania.
We did get a Burger King at the Motor Chef.
Exactly. So. You know, that's the thing. Yeah. And
nice.
you know,
that's been nice.
We put a pound in the machine, turned the thing, and 2 balls came out with 2 toys in it. You know, on a couple of occasions.
For me, it's got clips and highlights written all over it. Unfortunately, I was genuinely expecting more, because some of the things that they did in the lead up to Rumble and the lead up to Elimination Chamber, I thought were really good, and I thought maybe this would be the moment where, you know, this is your year completely out of the shadow of Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
with no element of it being a leftover from something that Vince booked before he left. And I honestly feel like Triple H and the booking teams have fumbled some of these. I read online, and I know the internet's not exactly reliable, but I read online that apparently he sits there with a phone reading Twitter and he pivots a lot. Apparently.
Right. What, Triple H?
Yeah, apparently he very much pivots while Raw's happening.
Right.
And that's if that is true, that's a real fucking Vince thing to do, isn't it?
That's madly unsustainable. You can't be doing that.
If that's happening,
if people find out about that, if enough people could find out about that and go on Twitter on a Monday night and start going, fucking push Doink the Clown. Why is Doink the Clown not on Raw? And then all of a sudden, if someone comes out dressed as Doink, then that fucking hell.
If they'd look at my tweets, maybe they would bring Doink the fucking Clown back. Because that's genuinely all I bloody want. Like, let's go back to the days of occupations being your gimmick. Please.
I've said this a couple of times. In the Triple H era, we've lost those weird shit backstage segments that Vince loved and would do in between every match and stuff like that. There isn't any of that anymore. And I think that is something that we're missing from the Vince era, a little bit of the charm of the Vince era, if you will, is that those little backstage segments with a couple of legends at Mania, you know, or fucking Otis. Put Otis in a backstage segment looking for that golden egg that Vince had. Just do fucking something, you know.
Tatanka should dance.
Yeah, $1 Million Man needs to fucking laugh, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan needs to say ho, and then to end it all, Farouk needs to come in and say damn. and then everyone dances, and
Yep.
no reason whatsoever that happened. That's what we need. Anyway, no, Jay, what do you reckon? Sorry, you're the show. Do you reckon it's going to be good? Do you reckon it's just going to be highlights?
I said before it's
Yeah.
highlights for me.
Highlights.
I say I wanted more,
Yeah.
and I
Cool.
felt like WWE were gonna give me more and bring me in, and like I said, I promised everyone from Netflix onwards, Royal Rumble onwards, I would be a good boy, and I would give WWE a chance,
Yeah.
and I'm not mad, I'm fucking disappointed. But also, AEW has been a bit rough on around the edges. So yeah, it's not like I'm sitting there going like, oh, but the other wrestling I watch is fucking superb.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I want to start watching a bit of TNA, but I don't know where it's on at the minute.
You know what? Right, I've tried TNA as well. I've been trying stuff, and you know what? The only thing that's made me go bell to bell, like I've enjoyed, New Japan.
Really?
Back enjoying New Japan. Bit of fun. Don't understand what's going on.
A bit of fun from New Japan. Who would have
Bit
thought?
of fun from New Japan.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with a review of WrestleMania. Hopefully, Big Tasty will join us. Jay, will you be back for the review?
Potentially, depending on recording
Times
and all that sort of stuff and times and all that kind of thing. But what I will say for sure is that I hope that Niall and Dan, you enjoy it. And I hope it gives you everything that you want. Because even though I am an AEW Ultra, I'm not a prick. Ish. Young Bucks for life.
Excellent work, everybody. Well done. Until next time, then, Rick, the producer of the Shadows, will play a little Tommy Ends music to see us out. And as always,
love you, Rick.
Until next,
I do love Rick. He's fucking lovely.
He's an awesome guy.
Really nice. Yeah.
Niall, until next time, my friend.
Indeed. I'll see both of you in a couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah. We'll see you at Manchester. If you're at Manchester Punk Festival and you see us wandering about, come and say hello. If not, send us an email, halfthebrainpod@gmail.com. Yeah. Nice one, everybody. See you later. Bye.
Bye.